Hello, Kevin.
Morning, Matt.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. It's good to see you.
Yeah, you're a week after your birthday. How are you
Yeah,
feeling with that extra week now?
yeah. It's still recovering, as you probably can tell. So, yeah, it's nice. 42 is nice. I wear it quite well.
Yeah, you do. You do. Yeah. And well, we're here. We just have a limited time, so I know you and I both we could talk about things for a while, but we want to get in that cross-eyed crucible and get busy on Angulimala, the story we're nurturing, tending, uh, tracking. So
Mhm.
let's do that thing that we're introducing people to, which is let's cross the threshold.
Sure.
Um, and you want to do it, or should I do it?
I, you know what? I would be honored if you did it this week to begin us.
Yeah. Dear God, grandmothers and grandfathers, all our spirit friends, all the benevolent ones who know us better than we know ourselves, we're standing here at the threshold. It's really good to be here with Kevin and our brothers and sisters who are wanting to cross into the cross-eyed crucible and have this fun, do this work, tending, nurturing, tracking a story. So yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity. Gratitude for all that has been given. I cross over the threshold. I put my hand on the door frame and notice that there are some faces carved in the door frame. Really
Mm-hmm.
cool. And I cross the threshold saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm in.
And this is Brother Kevin. I just want to say, um, let's just make sure our words are ordered and in alignment with what the higher power wants for what we're doing here in the Crosslight Crucible. And I am happy to be here. And my mind is a little cloudy this morning, and that just goes with being a human being. So just have patience with me as I am moving through this space. And I'm happy to be here with Brother Matt. I think he's going to do an impeccable job with guiding us this morning or this afternoon. And so I put my full faith and trust in the process. Amen. And thank you, thank you, thank you, as Matt would say. And I cross over the threshold and I am in the crucible.
Well, all right. All right. So here we are. So touch base briefly on what is the cross-eyed crucible with a very brief reminding of people. Um, you want to tell them, or I can do it either way. What are
Um,
we doing?
well, we could both just say what it is, at least for us, because there's a lot of overlap, right? But then there's is a some difference there, and so for me, with the cross-eyed crucible is it's just tending to the stories as we are tracking stories throughout the globe, uh, figuring out, sitting with, being with what is resonating with us, the resonance in these stories, unpacking the archetypes and the plot lines, storylines, and how they also apply in our lives. And then taking that a step further, working on our own personal stuff as we're moving through the stories. What is coming up for us? How are we impacted in our everyday lives? What is moving? What is shaping? What is changing? And so, at the same time, while this is something about myth and fantasy and storytelling, this has real life implications. And so Matt,
Yeah,
what is your spin on it?
yeah, that's good. One of the things too for me, Kevin, is like I- we're in a time that really feels like where's the structure? Who are the elders? How am I going to learn how to deal with this chaos? And that's been going on for quite a while. I mean, I was born in 1961, and that was the year that they thought they were going to blow up Cuba, and because of the missile crisis thing. And it's been crazy for quite some time, long before I was born. And so to me, that's what these stories represent, is that underlying structure from the elders, okay, and beyond. I don't know where these things come from, you know. I do know that they're still here, these stories, and I don't think that they're here because of somebody's ulterior motive from some, special committee that's decided we're going to keep all of these stories alive. These stories, to me, have their own life, and they're still have a pulse, and they're willing to share an understanding of both the soul of the world and our souls, if we would let them, if we will play with them, if we'll let them into us, flow through us, and if we flow through the river of the story that they're telling. Can I take on the characters? Can I see that all of the characters are inside of me? And so yeah, that's my take on it too, to add to that. So that's a good thing. Also, the cross-eyed crucible to me is becoming more and more. It has more of a definition. It is the place that I acknowledge is sacred, and I can do that anywhere at any time. I can always call in the cross-eyed crucible and say, this whole thing is sacred if I want.
Mm-hmm.
It is
Mm-hmm.
anyways. If you're seeing smoke go by, the kitchen's not burning down that I'm in. I have the incense going on over there. So here we are with Angulimala.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk. We're going to tend, nurture, track steps, parts 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So essentially, I'm still in a place where the father has gone to the king, and it was so for me. Okay, again, I want to acknowledge that I'm not picking on the culture that has presented the story. I'm taking my emotion that has been prompted by the hooks that are in the story. So when I see this father going to the king, and I said, boy, it was really quick that he decided to tell the king, hey, if you think it's a smart idea to kill my son to save the community, let's go ahead and do that.
Mm-hmm.
That speed with which he came to that, like, let's go ahead and do this, here is annoying to me. I
Mm-hmm.
recognize that as a parent, I've done that to my own kids, where I may not be offering to have, I'm not offering to have them killed for the community, but I will be willing to put my needs in front of theirs and be in denial about the fact that I've done that. That's what that reminds me of. And it's also been done to me. I can remember as a child, the gaslighting of my own parents saying, oh, this is all about because we love you, and then getting slapped on the back of the shoulder. Wait, you hitting me means you love me? Or is that just that you're impatient and irritated with me and not willing to sit down and help me figure things out? So yeah, I'm still at that point. I know we're going to move into the part 2, but that's what's resonating for me right now. Where are you at?
Yeah. Hey, Tammy. Yeah. Thank you. How this is resonating with me is that this is like relating to my own personal origin story. And so one of the things that you threw up there was that I was born in 1961. Well, that was the year that my mom was born, in 1961. So that would make you directly, 17 years older than me? 18, 18 years older than me. Um, and then another thing that's coming up for me is the um, Ahimsaka is bound, right? He's bound by this constellation that is, saying that his future is going to be a certain way, and that his father takes this before the king and says, okay, well, his fate is already determined. So what do we do with this kid? Do we kill him, or, whatever? It taps into my own story of my mom being basically a 16-year-old when I was conceived, a 16-year-old kid. She was, and she didn't know what to do. My grandmother was like, well, you'll have to get rid of this kid, and so this is maybe where abortion is coming into my mind,
Oh,
right? But
yeah.
then I had a great aunt, right, who stepped in and said, no, if this is your child and that you feel like you can love him and guide him, then go ahead and have this child by all means, but that you take on this responsibility that you will steward his life in the right direction, right? But coming into that, there was already an underlying narrative that 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 kids who are born to teenage parents will end up a certain way, right? And so, throughout my life, I had um, um, uh, this one-dimensional path, right, of trying to be the perfect child, so that I wouldn't prove my mother, wrong for having me. So I just thought
Right.
about that. I just thought about that as you were sharing, um, and what's coming up for me in the second part of the story is how much he's attaching himself in the beginning, ahimsaka, how much ahimsaka is really just adoring, putting his full trust into the teacher. And there seems to be a good rapport and relationship, but the teacher, there's a weakness in the teacher's mind. Uh, and ultimately that weakness gets to him.
Mhm. Yeah. To me too, hearing about, so in a way, well, not in a way, your great aunt could be put in the place of the king in the story, right? And that your great aunt said to your mom, "Oh, hold on, I'm going to help you uh, raise this child, not give it away," right? So I want to remind everybody too, if you've come on and you're trying to figure out, okay, what are these guys talking about? Um, Down below in the description is the Vimeo of both the first and second part of the story. So um, do we want to pause for a second if people need to go and listen to that? No, we just keep going. They'll figure it
Yeah, we should have did that. We should have did that. Okay, but let's just go ahead and call in a moment of silence.
out. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that they can cross over that bridge. Oh, by the way, did you hear the bridge in the last video?
No.
Oh, you weren't paying attention. I added a sound effect to
You
that
did.
bridge.
Awesome. Okay. Is all right. All right. So all right. Let's do a moment of silence. Okay. Welcome back.
Hmm.
So to me, the system is an issue as well. On the one hand, the system can be a structure by which the child is supported and raised. On the other hand, it can squish the spirit of the child and can be soul crushing. So for me to hear that, um, we'll call him Ahimsaka at the beginning, even the name that was given to him denies the kind of ferocity that the prophecy put forth about him, right? And it's saying that ferocity is scary, so we're going to pretend like it doesn't exist. To
Right.
me, Ahimsaka is a denial of his inner nature. And I remember that's one thing too with my dad. He used to say he was a big football player. Football really, I loved playing it. I just couldn't stand the knuckleheads who played it in my high school and the knuckleheads who coached it. Hello. So I didn't want to play that. I played soccer instead. And he would tell me that I didn't have the spirit of a tiger,
Ooh, yeah.
right? I remember driving
Hmm.
home in the car and him saying, "You just don't have the spirit of a tiger." And I'd like grind my teeth. And you know, I wanted to smack him.
Hmm.
Who do you think you are? I will show you the spirit of tiger I have. My spirit of tiger, you just don't understand the kind of tiger I have. That's what your
Mm.
issue is, dude.
Yep.
You know? And and so yeah, I recognize that since then I've been trying to prove that to whoever I want to stamp my Bhagavad Gaga father
Hmm.
onto.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, yeah, I got a spirit of tiger. You just watch, and
Hmm.
watch the tiger come out, and that doesn't help.
Hmm.
Constantly
Hmm.
stamping somebody else. What is that? How does that sound? What do you think of that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is pretty intense. This is pretty intense, and also too, what's coming up for me is Ahimsaka's um, his one dimensional. He's pretty much a one dimensional character at this point. In the first part, where it's dominated by the father's, loathing around receiving this premonition about his son, and now in the second part, now we have to deal with the teacher's,
Right.
self doubt and loathing. Him loathing his position as a teacher, his positionality, and what he may lose if he becomes too close to the student, right? And so in that way, I think the story, it just sets up this character
Right.
unfairly, because now this Ahimsaka is basically bound to the narrative of being this perfect person because he's taking care of his father, subconsciously taking care of his father, and subconsciously taking care of his teacher, and not even knowing this,
Right.
right? And then there is like this burst, right, that happens like down the road,
Hmm.
in the story. And so yeah, I'm just relating that to my own personal story of being, trying to be the perfect child, but not really understanding why I need to be perfect, why I need to be perfect. um and again, it's the shame, right? The shame of having a child, being a teenager, not
Right.
having enough. And I didn't know these things, and so you feeding it and saying, that your father is saying that you don't have the spirit, the spirit of a tiger. Is it a spirit that he said, or what was the eye of, was it
Spirit.
the spirit? Okay.
Yeah. Might have
So
been the
many,
guy. I don't know. Something along those lines.
well, well,
Tiger was in there though.
yeah, tiger. Well, damn it, I resonate. Whether it's an eye, whether it's a cock eye, I don't know. Whether it's the spirit, whether it's a cock spirit, I don't know. I resonate with that because so many times in my life I was told, I don't have this passion, I don't have this, and really what it was that my parents, my guardians, the people who stewarded my life had this sense of shame that I had to build
Right.
up to. So I had to overperform, and I never lived up to that tiger spirit, if I could call it that.
Yeah. Yeah. And he does. Okay. So he's taken on the burden of whatever the parents' issues were, as you and I both have described. This is what we're hanging our stuff on, right?
Yep.
Um, and at the same time, so he bought into the masks they said he had to wear. You will be harmless, you know. And so also in the beginning part, you hear him talking about the aditana, the aspiration.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, he had an aspiration to be the best that he could be. That has to have some fierceness in it,
Right.
right? That's got to have
Absolutely.
light shining out of the weapons, kind of um, aggression.
Right.
I want what
Right.
I want, and
Right.
that's okay. So it's complicated. The system sets it up, whether it's his parents' system or the prophecy or the king saying, well, as long as he doesn't
Mhm.
become the leader of a band of bandits, you know, uh, he's got to try to weave in his own aspirations. He's going to
Mhm.
kick some ass and be the best thing and be harmless. That's
Be
crazy,
harmless at the
Nikki.
same time. Hmm.
That's crazy.
Hmm.
But that is what I mean. I know that's what I'm describing, is that I'm trying to work out through this story. I don't have to carry that crazy.
Hmm. Hmm. Now I want to jump in and say something too, and I'm going to take words of your wisdom, Matt. I think you're a profound person in my life, that you just offer me these nuggets of wisdom, at these very important junctions in my life. And one of the things that you say is that I'm not going to invest in anxiety. I'm not going to invest in shame. And as much as I want to invest in victimization, of a himsika, I'm just not going to do it too, right? And so what's occurring to me in the second part is that, and the story says it like toward the end, is that, in all of the shame crap that his parents have, and all of the shame crap that his teacher has, that he still is responsible for his own
Right.
actions, in a Buddhist sense, his own karma as a result. And that part was lost on me before bringing this story to the forefront.
Right. Yeah. I think that for me, I want to acknowledge too, though, that in saying that I don't have to invest in anxiety, um, I one of the things that's important to me is to acknowledge that fear happens. I have a choice to invest in trying to control fear, which is an uncontrollable thing, by creating inside of me a system of anxiety. I actually get the feeling like I'm controlling the scary thing that's in front of me by investing in this practice. And so to me, that's, again, this is whole system of investing in surface or mask behaviors to deal with a thing that is not controllable. I can be with fear, I can act to address fear, but I can't control it. Just like I can't control anger. Anger happens. Resentment is an investment. So yeah, thank you for bringing up that up. 'Cause I didn't make that up. You know, I've put it together over time, different words, and
I
they
love
come
it.
up through me. But I mean, it's through working the 12 steps that came to me. Yeah, yay, 12 steps.
Yep.
Um, the
12 stepper here too.
yeah. Um, one thing I want to mention too is, again, this whole issue of him, and we see it going into the second story. He starts to invest in a whole new series of masks in order to be with the teacher. He had this whole series that kind of worked with his dad, and now he's going to take those and try to, and he has to adapt them and
Right.
keep on being the
Right.
best ahimsaka, right?
Right.
Not the best whoever he is. One of the things too is that in some cultures, theft is actually something that they notice that comes up in prepubescent and teenage boys. They want to steal stuff. And rather than squish them and say, oh, you're going to juvie in detention hall and live there for 6 months because you stole some stuff, a car or whatever, okay, they would say, okay, you're gonna have to live with 2 or 3 other boys outside of the community. And part of your job right now is to survive. We'll still be here. You're just going to be 500 yards over there, living, making your own fire. And you have to come in and you have to steal something from the best warrior in the camp. So this is the genius of a way of dealing with a kind of energy like Ahimsaka's ferocity that was pointed out when he was born. Rather than denying it, it's saying, how do we weave this back into the community? How do we help the boy take that energy and put it for the betterment of the community, right? Because theft isn't always something that has to be a bad thing. When somebody hunts, you're stealing the life from another being. When you farm, you kill the plant, you're stealing the life, right? Anyway, that's my thought on that. We are now at just about 20 minutes.
Yep. So I think this is a good time.
Yeah. So we got a few minutes to close. One of the things I want to just touch base on before we go is we said the last time, I'm not perfect at this, and I'm certainly not a scholar in anthropology or what is the word for studying words, etymology or whatever. So I'm just want to invite in, please comment if I've pronounced a word wrong, if I got this story incorrectly and you study stories, let us know, comment below. You know, this is a participatory thing. We want people to this is why we're doing this. We want to help people with these conversations. We want your help. Okay, so I just wanted to put that in there.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you're welcome. And so I guess we could probably just go across the threshold. You feel good with that?
Yeah, I feel good with that, and I can go ahead and lead us out if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Mac?
Yeah, I think I'm good. I mean, I'm good sharing what I wanted to share. And next week we'll move more into the second part of the story, right?
Right, absolutely, and begin bringing in some aspects of the third part too.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Grandmothers and grandfathers, thank you so much for being with us today in the Cross-Eyed Crucible. I believe that our words were ordered and that our tongues were speaking truth as we know it. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for carrying that presence of just of friendliness, of openness, of respect. And all those good things. May these stories, may this webcast touch those who need to be touched, and may our community continue to form. Also want to give a warm shout out, or just a warm acknowledgement again of the Love Dogs, who are doing a tremendous amount of work around racial equity and and just um, and just in telling these stories with integrity. I'm learning so much from those guys, because white systemic racism is an issue in this country. And so we're going to put that on this altar too in the Cross-eyed Crucible. I also want to bring in the the energy of the warm and inviting energy of um, of just forgiveness,
Mm-hmm.
forgiving ourselves and forgiving each and every person for um, just things that we do as human beings where we're out of alignment with maybe our truth or the higher truth as it wants to express itself through us. And so, in closing, please forgive me for anything that I have done or I have said, or any energy that I have brought to this cross-eyed crucible that wasn't useful. Um, yeah, I just put it out there. I'm human. I'm doing the best I can. And I'm happy to be here with Brother Matt in his wonderful magic. And I'll go ahead and step out of the crucible, and I'm out.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin. I just want to say thank you for the willingness to be grateful. I'm not, my training did not uh, beho, I'm getting tongue tied here about it. Ancestors, I'm learning how to be grateful. And I can see how that helps me. And so I'm thankful that you're teaching me about how to be willing to just say thank you. So I'm grateful to this. I also want to acknowledge too that, um, Kevin in his walking out the door has mentioned white systemic racism. Um, and to me, that can bring up a kind of scary energy. And so I want to say, ancestors, thank you. Thank you for guiding us to go to this scary place. It's a necessity. This is a national wound that is not going to go away by being in denial of it. And help us to be with that through this and through any other endeavor. Also, protect us, help us to help. And yeah, so I'm just going to say thank you one more time to all those who are here, to my brother Kevin, and to all the ancestors. This is Matt going out the door, hand on the door frame. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amen.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Kevin. I'll hit up the music again and we will dance our way out of here.
Mm.